And welcome to another episode of the Dollar Store Boys podcast. I am your host, Justin Adams. I'm a reporter anchor for CBS News Colorado. Also, I am a play-by-play broadcaster for various different outlets from the Mountain West Network, also Pac-12 Network, and Altitude Sports and Entertainment. But before we continue on, we got to make sure that you join in the party as well, okay? Make sure that you like and subscribe to the Dollar Store Boys podcast and leave us with a comment. Whatever you want to talk about, we could be able to do so. Now, look, the Dollar Store Boys podcast is all about this, helping you with your finances. And the best way that we're able to do so is to talk about our personal experience that has helped us to be able to go and build wealth, because we build wealth, my young man, by going to the dollar store. That's how we're able to do it. My brother over there is Dion, Rabouin. Dion, let them know who you are.
What's going on, man? I am a retired financial journalist. I worked at places like Yahoo Finance, Reuters, the Wall Street Journal. Learned how to invest and how to grow wealth. Use that knowledge to make some strategic investments, build a couple businesses, and retire early. And now try to pass on some of that knowledge that I've earned to folks out there like yourselves, doing this here show with my brother Justin Adams, talking about the things that we learned, the lessons that we've learned through our time shopping at the dollar store, because it ain't no shame in shopping at the dollar store. No, it's not.
It's one of the favorite places actually to be. It was funny. I took my son there to the dollar store the other day, and we were actually at Best Buy. So I'll say that. And while I was at Best Buy, my son was like, "I'm hungry. I want something." I said, "Oh, you're hungry? Well, then tell me how much those peanuts cost." And he said, "Oh, it was $2.49." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Interesting." I took it to the dollar store. I said, "Hey, son, how much it cost?" $1.25. I said, "Well, son, guess what? You can only get one." You get two.
You get two.
That's the way you got to do it. So it was good to be able to take them there. But to the point, Dion, today is an opportunity to talk about some decisions that I've made. Just with my young ones. I have two kids, 1 7, 1 3. And just trying to do things to be able to help them with their finances. And one of the things that I didn't have the privilege of was to be able to have money to fall back on right when I was 18 or 21 or 22, right? It was all about, hey, you got to figure it out as you go. Here's your first paycheck, build from there. But to be able to say, hey, I wanted to make sure that I leave an inheritance for my children's children, that's something that was extremely important to me.
Okay, you talking about generational wealth,
yes, sir.
Justin. So listen, let's talk about that. So I want to talk to you. When did you first start planning to do this, right? To build this generational wealth?
It's interesting because at first when my son, Alexander, I had in mind, hey, we should do something for him, but then I didn't immediately jump on that. It wasn't until actually someone came to the studio at CBS Colorado from College Invest, and they talked about these 529 plans. And when they described what a 529 plan was, it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, let me really jump on here. And so what they were doing was actually giving people a $100 credit just to get started.
Hey, let's go.
And what our saying is at the Dollar Store Boys podcast.
Oh, I know.
We love free money.
We love free money. Why wouldn't you want to get some free money?
Why wouldn't you want some free money, right? And so when I saw that opportunity, I said, let me go and jump all aboard that. Started up a 529 plan for my son and said, hey, we're going to go and deposit these funds every month. They're going to be automated no matter what for my wife and I, come directly from our accounts. Before we even look at anything else, we know that that's going to be taken care of. And so we have seen the money grow steadily throughout the years.
Okay, so before we go on, for those who don't know, like people like myself who ain't got no kids, right? What is a 529 plan?
Yeah. So thankfully, the good old folks at College Invest has let us know what the good old definition
College Invest ain't no sponsors, man. You got to stop shouting them out. They got to
pay. Well, it's an educational savings account where your money grows from federal and state tax-free as long as it's used for specific expenses, including tuition and room and board, okay? You can use your savings anywhere in the country at eligible colleges or trade schools, or even for apprenticeships. So knowing that college is going to be pretty expensive. They're expensive right now, right?
Yeah.
You can just imagine 18 years down the road how much they'll be. I wanted to make sure tax-free that my kids were able to go and have an account that would continue to grow with the wonderful magic of compound interest.
Yes.
That it will continue to grow so that when it's time for them to go, that they don't start at zero like I started at, like you started at, right? That they'll be able to have some funds available. And oh, by the way, that doesn't take away if they get a scholarship. So let's say you get a scholarship, then you can add that right along with it. So it's something that's really important.
Yeah, I remember my man Will, I went to college with him. He said, yeah, I got a scholarship for some rims. Because he had
What?
so I say he had a full ride scholarship, and then he got another scholarship, and he took that money, he used it to buy some rims.
Were they spinning?
You know, they was spinning. They was spinning. But yeah, so it's like, you know, maybe you don't want Alexander to buy some rims with this money.
Not even close.
He gets a college scholarship, but he can use that for, you know, maybe a nice high quality automobile.
That's right.
Right.
That's
or
right.
maybe some living quarters, maybe to put money down in a house, something like that. Right.
Exactly. Or even maybe even to say, hey, you want to get a business afterwards. Well, this is some funds you could be able to have. Or if you want to go into, you know, get your master's or your doctorate, well, rather than having to pay for that, then here's some extra funds, especially if you have a scholarship, that you could be able to go and use for that. So it's a way to be able to make sure that you have some funds. You're not paying for school directly, right? You're not going to have that student loan debt, which we know is in the trillions of dollars. This is one way that we're able to go and take our funds today to make that investment for tomorrow.
Okay. So you talk about your experience, right? Was there something that motivated you, that like was part of your experience going to college, paying for college, that made you say, you know what, I don't want my kids to have to deal with this?
Yeah, actually. So I walked on to the University of Colorado, and so played 3 seasons there, played football three years, and then the last 2 years.
Played is an interesting term to use.
Wait, hey, I let her. Did you let her? Okay. 1 game, 3 plays, but you know what? I played. I stepped on the field while the clock was moving. I was there. Okay.
All right.
But here's the thing. During that time, I didn't have the chance to have another job, because when you're an athlete, right, you're a student athlete, especially there's no NIL at this time.
Yeah, there was no NIL.
You have to go in school, practice, and then in many respects you're trying to catch up on sleep. Now there have been stories of guys who have taken that extra step and worked overnight or whatnot, and I didn't have that discipline in order to do that from there. But what did help me, and I know we're not going to use their name, they're not sponsors yet, but I did receive a scholarship from aforementioned, right?
Right.
And they helped me.
That's the last mention they get for free. That's the last
mention.
one.
You get 3. But they paid for a year for me. And I remember talking to my mom and my dad afterwards, and they said, we don't know if you would have been in school if you didn't have that. And it made me think about the importance of making sure that will never be a conversation for either of my kids, where they cannot go to get that extra degree, or to be able to continue their education and make sure that finances would not be an issue. I don't want that ever to be a barrier. So when I realized that, and I realized that there were plans that were available, I said, hey, let me make sure that I put my kids in the best position to succeed so they could be able to follow their dreams.
So now the other part, one part is starting.
Yes.
Right? That's always the hardest part. But then you also got to continue.
Yes.
Right? So talk to me about that. What other things have you done in terms of like putting money away for your kids? And talk to me about just the habit of that, right? Because, there's always other things you could be putting your money towards when you're trying to grow and build wealth. Like, how have you been able to maintain that, and what other things have you done?
Sometimes the best habit is actually to forget about it. And one of the best ways we do is just automate it. It's a bill, right? You pay for your bill for cable. You pay for your bill for water. We just make it another bill. We make sure that it's something that has to be taken care of every month. We do not look at it and say, well, I guess we have to cut it. I guess we can't do it this month. No. We will make sure that does get paid. And so we put about $150 into each account every month. And look, it's not an exorbitant amount of funds, but it's something better than nothing, and it continues to allow the magic of compound interest to go on for 18 years. Think about that. We have 18 years of being able to do that, and then to say, okay, now here's some amount that we could be able to give over to you once you turn 18 and it's your time to go to college. Here's another thing, though, and this is a little bit of a cheat code. Birthdays, holidays, rather than saying, hey, get this kid a toy that he's only going to like for like 5 seconds. Literally, I've seen my kid open up a present. Wow, this is so cool. What's the next present, right? Rather than going and investing into a present that will have that excitement and joy for that moment, you could also say, here's a QR code. Go and please invest it to our 529.
Oh, you got a QR code now.
You can do that QR code. You can also do just different ways.
Wait, but do you have a QR code? Because I invested in Brooks College Fund, and I ain't getting no QR code, brother.
We were working on that. But you can okay. But I did make sure to put the funds in there for sure. All right. But those are different ways you could be able to do so, right? You could be able to have send out information to say, hey, please send it to this account or send it here to us. We could be able to take these funds, put it to the college fund.
I'm gonna need you to practice what you preach, all right, brother? Get that QR code.
Hey, we are.
So
I
can hit that up.
Yeah, I would love to. We're going to get that done. Get it done.
All
Yeah.
right. But one thing I want to make sure that we don't just like gloss over is you talked about compounding interest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you're talking about you're putting away $150 a month. People think that's nothing. The cost of college tuition is going to be so expensive in the future. But through the magic of compounding interest, that actually means a whole lot more than $150.
Yeah,
right?
it really does. You know, it's funny. I'm going to do just for fun. I'm going to do just a Google search on $150 invested for 18 years. Like, what would that be? And just see the magic of compound interest. And there's different. There's actually a 529 investment calculator if you go and do that, right? So you could be able to look that up. And there's different numbers that you could be able to look for. But for the sake of timing, I will say this is that when you look about it, again, it's something where it's not just 150 or 150. It's wherever the stock market is, right? So it's 150 plus whatever the percentage that you have in the stock market, right? So whether it's 10%, 50%, at one point we talked about 18%, right? And so you continue to stack that, and you continue to get that percentage on how much you have in those accounts, then it just continues to grow. So it's something that will really help out your families to be able to say, hey, I may not be able to have $100,000, but this account over the years has helped me to be able to have that much funds to be able to help you out with your education.
And it grows with the help of the stock market. So you're not just putting money away in like a savings account, you're investing it, and that money is growing with the market over time.
That's right. And that's why it's important to be able to make sure that, you know, people can be able to go and help you if that's where you want them to go and help you out with your funds, to be able to go put it in there so it can continue to grow faster.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Justin, you have broken down these 529 accounts.
Yes, sir.
How you're investing, why you're investing. Give for the folks out there. What's the last piece of advice you would give to folks to either start, continue, or some of the rebounds, or not the rebounds, wow, that's the wrong word.
Yeah.
But some of the rewards that you've gotten from doing this.
Yeah, so I like to joke around a lot, but I get very serious because you're going to sacrifice one way or the other. You can either sacrifice $150 today, or you could sacrifice $150,000 in 2 decades, right? And a lot of times that's either going to come from your pocket, where you sign, where you're a co-signer, or it's going to be directly on the backs of your kids. And so think, do you want to go and have your son, your daughter, having $150,000, $200,000 on their back in student loan debt? If that's something that you don't want to happen, then this is a way to be able to do so. Everybody has a different motivation. That's one way to be able to say, I do not want them to be able to go through that. I want them to be able to go and have finances not a problem. Not to be able to say we're wasteful in buying rims with the money, right? But we're able to say that, you know, we did the right thing to make sure that they are taken care of, they are financially funded, so they could be able to go and make those right decisions in life.
That's a beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to end the podcast, man. Listen, that is our time. Thank you all out there for joining us. This has been the Dollar Store Boys podcast. Please check us out, like, subscribe, hit us in the comments, let us know what you think of the show. I am Dion Rabouin with my brother Justin Adams, saying so long, and we will see you on the next episode of the Dollar Store Boys.